That's also one of the games that I've been really, really, really hyped about because it's genuinely has it's genuinely one of those very promising videos that kind of flying under the radar at the moment. I feel like, you know, um, I mean, people who know about the game, they're pretty excited about it, but I think most people still kind of finding out about the game. There's not a lot of chatter about the game on the internet, I think, but I think the game is slowly gaining a little bit more traction in that regard. But right now, I think, yeah, I don't think it's getting enough momentum, but I think it's gonna end up being one of those like really well done games that everyone's gonna end up talking about. So I'm really keen to see more of it. For those who don't know what Crimson Desert is, as I mentioned before, it's a game developed by the same people who made Black Desert Online, which is a MMORPG. But this is not an MMO. It's a open world single player game, which is set in the same universe as Crimson Desert, I believe. But yeah, it's called Black Desert. It's set in the same universe, but it's not really directly the same thing. It's very different. I think it's because they started off as, this supposed to be something that's directly related to Crimson Desert, but then they kind of evolved into this open world game that we're all really excited about. I'm very specifically keen to see the game, play the game, because of its very new style of combat. It's something not very different, but it's different enough to what I have seen in other combat in other games, and it feels very fresh. And I want to check it out because from what I have heard other people say about the game, who have played, who have got their hands on the game in early playtest and stuff like that, they had nothing but praise for the game. So I kind of want to see what's up. And there's a new IGN video talking about why you should be excited about Crimson Desert's open world. And I want to hear what they have to say because I'm already excited about the game. And I want to see what their reasoning for this is. So let's check it out.
You are watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. It has been more than half a decade since Crimson Desert was first revealed, but next year players will finally get to set foot in the realm of Pywell in this epic-looking single-player RPG. Here to tell us what's in store, Leapy Park and Will Powers from Pearl Abyss. Welcome.
Thank you, Max.
Okay, so this is this is a beautiful-looking game. I think a lot of people were blown away by that initial reveal. At Gamescom, you're showing off this game in action properly, and it looks really fun. I want to know what's going on in this world and what's at stake here. Who are we? What are we doing?
Well, let's start by talking about what we're doing at Gamescom. Libby built the booth with her own two hands, so...
Yes, I did it. Alone, all by myself. Jokes, yes. Yeah, so
Awkward.
the concept of the booth itself, if I start with our booth design, it was heavily inspired by the actual castle that exists within the build we are showing at the Gamescom this year. So this is the castle that you are actually going to have this final boss within the build. Final boss combat, and we wanted to, since this hands-on build is pretty immersive enough, we wanted to actually drag out that immersiveness for the fans. So we tried our best to build this
Why does this
actual
video look so shit?
realistic enough looking castle.
You've got a tavern, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and the tavern. That actually, the tavern itself also exists, not the exact design, but also the concept of the tavern actually also exists in our game, so people can find out once we launch our game. So yeah, the focus and goal was immersive.
What we've shown up to this point has mostly been focused on combat. This build's really special because this is the first point where we're pulling back the curtain and showing what the plot of the game's about. You're getting your first chance to see the open world and kind of roam around in it. And players are seeing this for the first time. And what's so cool, you said the game's beautiful. Thank you, by the way. But everything you see is explorable. anything you see, I get to do
That
the
is
Todd
pretty
Howard
cool.
thing. If you see it, you can go there. You can climb that mountain.
That's a huge
Nice.
promise.
Now let's talk about who we're playing as.
But also
Who's the
pretty exciting.
protagonist?
So that's Cliff. He is in a mercenary group called the Greymanes, who are fighting to have and bring back really safety to this continent of Pywell. They're in a struggle against an opposing faction called the Drunken Black Bears.
Okay, that sounds like a formidable foe, an inebriated Ursine. Yeah, I want to talk about Black Desert Online has maybe the most impressive character creator I've ever seen in a game. What was behind the decision to have a bespoke protagonist here, and I guess how much customization will players have over him, like outfits, abilities,
That's pretty cool.
skills, all that?
It's a bespoke character.
So, thank you, by the way. Black Desert, award-winning character creator, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're not calling this an RPG, because we feel like there's a lot of connotations associated with that word, whether it's creating your own character and role-playing as them, or experience points and leveling up systems. Those aren't in this game.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we're not calling it an RPG. We're calling it an open world action adventure game. But there is still a lot of customization that players can have over Cliff. Not just cosmetically.
So I gotta obviously stop there, right there, because let's talk a little bit about what that guy just said. Because
leveling up systems, those aren't in this game.
Oh, okay.
So that a lot of connotations associated with that word, whether it's creating your own character and role-playing as them, or experience points and leveling up systems, those aren't in this game.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we're...
So experience points and leveling up aren't in this game.
We're not calling it an RPG, we're calling it an open world action adventure game.
It's not an RPG, it's an open world action adventure game.
But there is still a lot of customization that players can have over Cliff. Not just cosmetically, as well as stat points over his armor and how he looks, but also in kind of how they play as their character.
Okay, so this is interesting because, all right, so they don't want to call it an RPG themselves because it's not going to be character role-playing. No role-playing, even though they have a they have pretty detailed character creator where you create your own character. There's no role-playing, so you just have this open world where you can do a lot of side quests and basically explore and do missions and experience a story as your character, as the character that you made. But it's not a role-playing games because there's no leveling up your character or stuff like that. You're just experiencing the story. So in a way, it is kind of an RPG, but there's no character level progression. I don't really know how that will come into play here because I don't know what that means, dude. I feel like there was... I don't know. I'm a little confused by that statement. I all this time I thought it was a bit of an RPG. Obviously, it's open world. There's a lot of combat. You have your own character. If they're not doing character level or experience, like level progression or experience points or whatever it is, how are they implementing progress in this game? Or is it just you just get your own, like you get different gears throughout the story, different, weapons and gear that you wear throughout the story, but there's nothing to level up. You just like acquire gear and then you equip them. So does that mean like, I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. If I'm missing something, just let me know because I don't really know. Doesn't make sense to me.
Character, whether you're leveling a skill tree in a certain direction that's aligned with your melee combat or your magic focus or your defensive minded gameplay, you can really make the play style.
Okay, so the progression is directly tied to the combat. That's it. Not to your character. Cool. All right.
Adapt to how you want to play.
Cool. Now I want to talk about traversal because obviously a big part of an open world game is just getting around it. And there's some really, like just a second ago, he like turned into something bird shaped, I guess, and was flying.
Crow's wings.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the different ways you can get around, different mounts, different means of moving.
So traversal is very important in an open world sprawling continent like this. We call it the continent of Highwell because it's so massive. There's a couple really cool things. Obviously, you can run around on foot and see all the details of the world. Horseback. There's wyvern riding. There are dragons in the game that you can fly around in this.
Oh yeah, did I tell you? You can actually ride a dragon in this game. That is freaking cool, dude.
Large.
I gotta give them that.
Abyss. There's even cool ways where you can take magic, bend trees, and like Looney Tunes, you can launch yourself from the tree into the air, soar
That's
through
so cool.
it, and get to the next destination with your wings that are magic imbued. We're not going to go into how you get those wings, but there's magic in the game, so use your imagination.
I like magic. That's fun. Now we've seen some
That
things
is cool.
in the trailer. There's these like almost Tears of the Kingdom style sky islands that look almost like sort of puzzle spaces. Can you talk a little bit about those and how they come
Lots
into
of
play?
particles effects in
The
this game.
Abyss.
The Abyss.
Yes, the aerial abyss. Again, we're trying not to talk too much about story because we don't want to do a lot of spoilers. We want people to play the game and get excited about that. The plot's going to be a central pivotal thing, but
Yeah, I
there are
appreciate
going to
that.
be puzzles, things that you're trying to put together around these
Oh shit! I realized that I'm not showing the gameplay. God damn.
artifacts
guys.
and magic within the world.
Let me just scroll back because you missed the whole thing.
You can really make the play style adapt
Damn.
to how you want to play.
Cool. Now
Okay.
I want to talk about traversal because obviously a big part of an open world game is just getting around it. And there's some really, like just a second ago, he like turned into something bird shaped, I guess, and was flying.
Crow's wings.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the different ways you can get around, different mounts, different means of moving.
So traversal is very important in an open world sprawling continent like this. We call it the continent of Highwell because it's so massive.
Scrolling content.
There's a couple really cool things. Obviously, you can run around on foot and see all the details of the world. Horseback. There's wyvern riding. There are dragons in the game that you can fly around in this.
Dragons. You can
large,
ride a dragon.
aerial abyss. There's
cool.
even cool ways where you can take magic, bend trees, and like Looney Tunes, you can launch yourself from the tree into the air, soar through
Yeah,
it,
that is
and
actually
get to
cool.
the next destination with your wings that are magic imbued. We're not going to go into how you get those wings, but there's magic in the game, so use your imagination.
I like magic. That's fun. Now we've seen some things in the trailer. There's these like almost Tears of the Kingdom style sky islands that look almost like sort of puzzle spaces. Can you talk a little bit about those and how they come into play?
The Abyss.
The Abyss.
Yes, the aerial abyss. Again, we're trying not to talk too much about story because we don't want to do a lot of spoilers. We want people to play the game and get excited about that. The plot's going to be a central pivotal thing, but there are going to be puzzles, things that you're trying to put together around these artifacts and magic within the world. And those sky islands, as you call them, or the abyss, is going to be a pivotal central part of that. So you saw, and actually you've seen in previous B-roll, diving off the abyss and into the world. We're actually showing that as part of the Gamescom demo. That's how we end our tutorial, and players experience that before they start the demo.
Imagine bringing your side project to life
All right.
just by thinking about it. Meet
Sorry for
Base
the ads,
44.
guys.
Oh, that's fun. Now let's talk a little bit about exploration because you mentioned being able to climb that mountain over there. A big part of that is exploration is great, but that can, without any kind of goal, just be wandering around. What's out there for people to discover? What is sort of hidden in the world?
We took a lot of inspiration in the open world and the building of that open world from our experiences as
Good
developers.
question.
I think, Libby, you can talk about that because you worked on Black Desert when it launched.
Can I use Black Desert as an example?
Yeah.
So, we have enough experience with open world, obviously,
Black Desert.
and there are so many still huge community that loves exploring over combats, that stressful combats and such. So also our developers tend to develop the game they wanted to play, like genuinely wanted
That's
to
why
play.
we
That's
all want.
the
That's why we all
adorable
want.
point of them. So they really love to hide all those like cute elements and all those details in the world. So throughout the world in Black Desert, for now I can say, there are so many like hidden chest boxes and all those different elements. Even per region, you can get different type of fish, different type of meat, different type of collectible minerals and everything.
Okay.
So we
A lot of emphasis on exploration.
wanted to
Awesome.
create those realistic but still interesting enough, unique like parts into the world, so you can actually find the village or the area that you definitely more immersed into and like set your home camp in within that region, etc. So
What she's saying there is pretty interesting, I think, because I think she's trying to say there's a lot of emphasis on the exploration part of the game, which is fantastic. But my concern there is if it's not tied to the personality of the world, it can end up feeling quite boring. So I mean, from what I have seen so far in terms of gameplay, I think the game does have a lot of personality, and the world feels pretty alive. So it probably is not going to be a problem. But as you reach far away from the city, the village areas into like mountain tops and the valleys and stuff, that you kind of away from the beaten path, it does still need to maintain that level of personality, that lived-in feel, that immersiveness of the game, rather than just sprinkling random chest boxes and loot everywhere for you to find. That's not why people explore. I mean, it's a reward for exploring, but the reason why you want to go exploring is because you see something interesting in the distance. You see something that you want to check out, and that's why you go there. Not because you want to just like search for loot boxes, which I guess is how some people play the games. I am aware of that, but for the most of us, when it comes to exploration, I think what you find is the reward, but what gets you interested is what keeps you playing the game, which is, again, like I mentioned, that personality, that the immersion of the world that keeps you interested. Like, if you have ever played Legend of Zelda, it achieves that pretty well. You keep going, and every time you just go 10 steps ahead, you see something interesting and you want to go check it out. It's kind of like that. Even it's built into their game philosophy, where in any triangular area, they designed the map so any given point you're at, this within a certain radius, there's always going to be something interesting for you to see, and you're always going to come across something interesting, and that's how you keep the player going. I'm not saying that they have to do it exactly the same way that Zelda did, but if it has that similar philosophy in terms of exploration in the game, I think they would achieve that.
it won't be exactly same for Crimson Desert, but since we shared this vision or this interest in games, so we will definitely hit a lot of like surprises throughout the massive land world.
Yeah,
Okay.
Even though like obviously the genres are very different between MMO and single player action and adventure, the living, breathing open world and how the developers have the experience crafting that experience is going to directly translate in how they're building this open world.
Got it. I guess I'm curious. Again, I was at a glance. You see like a sword and board third-person game, and it's like it looks like an RPG.
Au
right?
contraire, sir.
Yeah, and I'm getting that. But how is the sort of difficulty scaling? Like, if you do have high-level enemies out there, are they even high-level enemies, or are they just hard? Are they?
So,
yeah, good question.
I get very defensive when someone says this is a very hard game. It's not. What they're experiencing, and this is a hard game to demo because what we're showing is a chapter of the game, and it's not the first chapter. Mm-hmm. So we're giving people 5 minutes of tutorial to ramp up into several hours into the game. So there's a very steep learning curve for this demo.
Right.
And
yeah, you're
any demo,
throwing them in the deep end. Basically.
right, exactly. But we see that after an hour of gameplay, which is what we're showing here, their skill level has increased. So there's a very high skill curve, but there's a very high skill ceiling, because the QA team have become masters of this game with tens and tens of hours of experience. They always show me something I didn't even know existed in the game, and I'm always amazed by how masterful they are.
When I start the game, can I just wander off in any direction?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like theoretically, yes, in an open world. There's always a question of how do we deal with, then I'll just go to the final boss. In an open world, you activate instances. So you activate boss fights, and those activations aren't eligible until you've met their prerequisites. So whether it's the time of day or something,
this guy's very passionate about this game,
boss fight
which
build,
is a good sign.
Where you go to a certain place and then you wait. There's a prompt. If you haven't had those prerequisites, then that prompt isn't there. So you can't just zoom to the end.
Gotcha.
But in terms of the open world, I mean, up to a certain extent, you can explore it.
Okay.
Again, we haven't revealed the scope and scale of everything yet, but it is an open world.
What are your personal favorite details in this game? Like, what is like one little thing that you just want to make everyone pay attention to?
Good
I
question.
need more time.
You need more time. There's so many things. I really, really love, and this, I promise this isn't a cop-out answer. We've demoed this game so many times for so many people, and because of the way that the technology and our proprietary engine works that we built this game upon, every time you load into it, the weather, the temperature, everything is different. And those aren't just cosmetic details. If you see on the bottom left of the screen, that temperature, if you start this demo on the top of a mountain, if that's under 0 degrees Celsius, you start seeing breath come out. You zoom in and you can see Cliff's breath. Frost starts developing on his beard. There are certain of those elements, I'm not going to tell you right now, that affect gameplay. So it's really cool and extremely hard to demo when every time you load into the game it's different. You can't consistently show off the same things, but it makes it exciting and it makes it rewarding to show it off because it's different every time.
Sweet.
That's cool.
When is this game coming out? I want to play it.
Detailed weather system.
She's not getting out of her answering or thing.
What's your detail? You had plenty of time. He was covering for you, run interference.
Oops. I actually really love the weather in game, if it makes sense. Because of thanks to our primary engine, they can do all these crazy magics. I personally, our lives, day-to-day lives are so stressful, and I'm living in Netherlands with the
That's what he said too,
weather throughout the year.
To weather.
So, but in game, the sunset looks amazing. The reflection on the surface.
I like a good
water
sunset.
is
That's a good thing to point out.
Whenever I just
the Witcher sunsets were the
those
best. I love sunsets in
beautiful
Witcher.
sceneries,
Witcher
it
3.
still makes me feel, oh my god, this is the baby we are
Red Dead
working
Redemption had
here.
good
Well,
sunsets.
I mean, that is like an underappreciated thing about open world games is like, do you want to go to this world? Like, is it a place you want to spend 100 hours or whatever? Like, that's important. That's something worth
on
considering.
top of that, whenever our studio, they're so excited to explain what they actually implemented this round of the build. So it's so, for me, like, I'm not the dev, so I cannot understand all those details, but their excitement and the things they're focusing on, it's alien-y language, but it's so beautiful in a way.
Based on what I'm seeing here, it seems like they've been keeping pretty busy. So I'm dying. Again, when can I play this game? Do we have a...
Yes, we do have a release window.
Release
Crimson
window.
Desert, you will be able to play it in Q1 2026, available on PC, natively on Mac, as well as on console, PS5, and Xbox Series X and X.
This is going to be available natively on Mac? That's impressive, dude, for how good the game looks.
Yes.
Perfect. That is just in time for my seasonal affective disorder. Crimson Desert, hitting PS5, Xbox Series, and PC, and Mac early next year. But right now, there's more Gamescom Studio on IGN coming up. Stick around.
Mac natively. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. I mean, I'm hyped for it. The fact that it's coming early 2026, that's actually a perfect window. I don't think there will be any huge games releasing at that time. So that's a good time for this game to come out, and it'll be a pretty good filler for that season to cover. I think if this game is going to be as expected, it would keep me busy for many months. Many months. I'm probably going to spend a lot of time playing that game. We have Where Winds Meet coming in November. That's good. That'll keep me busy for a month or two. I mean, 150 hours to finish the game, bro. Where Winds Meet. Yeah, maybe more than a month or two. I'm not sure whether I'll actually finish the game, but I'll probably end up sinking in many hours into that game too, and be done with it right in time to jump into Crimson Desert, which is awesome. It's a good time, man. It's a very good time. Amazing.